Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are sharing with you guys how to retire in 5 years starting with $0.
And that's a tall task, starting with $0, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it because it is the situation that a lot of people are in, and it is possible to do. So the first thing you need to do when you're going to try to retire in 5 years or any period of time is to figure out how much money you're going to need. And to do this, we have something called the safe withdrawal rate, which is the amount of your income you can spend every month without running out before the end of your life. And that's pretty important, right?
Yes.
The kind of time-trusted number for this has always been 4%. And if you search online, you do a Google search, you'll see the safe withdrawal rate is generally considered to be 4%. But a lot of people, including us nowadays, do consider that 5% is a better number to go with. And that's for a few reasons. One is that 4% number was made up during the 1900s, and times have changed. Money has changed, stock markets have changed. And also the other big factor here is that in the 1950s and the 1960s, you could not, when you became 65 or 70 years old, you could not easily go get more money if you ran out. The difference nowadays is with the invention of YouTube and other ways to do a side hustle, if you're 60 years old and you realize, I might not make it here, you can always start a side hustle and kind of fill in that little gap. So I don't think you have to be quite as cautious as you did back in the 1970s.
Yes, not just that, but then, you can also spend a little bit more on the front side, have a little bit different life.
Exactly, yeah.
Leading up to that retirement.
Yeah. If you're too conservative, then in your retirement, you're just not going to be able to enjoy the quality of life that you want. So based on that number, we are living off of a monthly budget of $4,000 per month. That may seem low to you. We have tons of videos on this channel detailing how we are doing that, and it is actually quite easy to do. I think if we wanted to, we could live on $2,500 a month, but actually we're in Vietnam right now, and we did live on $2,500 this month. We do have a video that kind of shows there was really no possible way for us to spend more than $2,500.
No, we tried really hard to spend as much as we could, so a fairly luxurious life experience in another country, and I don't think a lot of people think about that factoring into an early retirement.
Yeah, so we are based on $4,000 a month, and yes, in order to do that, you're probably not going to be based in the United States year-round. That's the first thing. But it is totally possible to have an amazing retirement, and we wouldn't change it for anything. But to get to that $4,000 a month, you got to look at your withdrawal rate. That is going to be 5%, as we said. So in order to do that, you will need $960,000 in the bank to do it. And that's a little daunting for a lot of people. I know it was for us, especially we didn't have $960,000 in the bank. And the way that math works is if you take 5% of $960,000, that's $48,000. That's $4,000 a month. That's what you can safely take out of your stock market portfolio and still have money for the rest of your life. So that's the safe number, $960,000. That's what we're here to talk about today. You're probably not going to get there if you're at zero. That's just kind of the point blank thing in 5 years.
Right.
But there's a way we get around that, and that's what this video is about. If you're truly starting from zero, you may want to think about trying to get to $200,000 and creating a side hustle where you can earn $3,000 a month in passive income. Or you may want to get to zero, which you're at now, and just create that side hustle where you're making $4,000 a month passive income, and that will get you there.
Which is very possible.
But you're not going to be at zero, because we're going to talk to you right now about some ways in the next 5 years where you can get to that $220,000. And the first one is downsizing your life.
Yes, and one of the things that, so we downsized, we actually downsized several times, but the last time we did before this, the house we sold was the house we downsized into when our kids were older and we didn't need as big of a home. We downsized from a 5,000 square foot home to a 3,500, 3,000 square foot home. That was a downsize for us, and in that move we downsized. We got rid of a lot of furniture and clothing and lots of things that we had in a 5,000 square foot home that we did not need to bring to the smaller home. And in that process we thought, wow, we did pat ourselves on the back. We did a great job. We downloaded, we did got rid of all this stuff. And we started the next downsizing, which was get rid of everything, and realized we didn't even unpack some of those boxes in the 2 years we lived in that last home. So in 2 years, we hadn't even used some of the stuff that we downsized from the last one. Mm-hmm. And so in 2 years, we hadn't used all this stuff. That was a no-brainer. Right out of the gate, okay, we haven't used this stuff obviously in 2 years. It's going out the door. We can't keep this stuff. And so just start there and just start getting rid of things that you're clearly not using. Even if you're, starting zero, looking at 5 years, start getting rid of those things and get those things out of the way.
Yeah, right? I remember when we first moved into our first house that we downsized to, we just brought everything over, and we had 7 TVs, and I was thinking, we don't have even, what are we going to put, 2 TVs in some of these rooms? It doesn't even make sense. So the key thing is just get rid of that stuff. And then once our kids left, we realized we can really get away with 1 TV. This is ridiculous. And now in our current retirement life, we've come to realize that the way we were living 7, 8, 10 years ago was fairly ridiculous. And we don't need to live like that. So when you're looking at your number for retirement, as you start to downsize, that number will come down because you're going to realize, I don't really need all those things that I thought I needed and that I'm living with right now because they just kind of make me feel sort of comfortable.
Yeah.
Second thing was, once we downsized and went into this retirement lifestyle, we realized we didn't need cars. We didn't need, all this other stuff that you need when you're trying to maintain that working lifestyle, kids at home type of life.
Yes, we went from 3 cars to 1 car to 0 cars.
Yeah. And that's a huge savings.
Such an enormous savings. You think to yourself constantly, well, how am I gonna get from here to here? Why keep a car that you're only going to use 2-3 times a year, maybe at the most, when you can just rent a car for that same time frame? I mean, there's so many different, and there's even more ways around that now. But it really made no sense for us to keep a car and pay to store a car while we were traveling abroad. Just no sense at all. So we got rid of all of them.
We don't have a car. We don't rent cars here overseas because last night we went into town. It was a 30-minute ride, and it cost us $3 for the taxi. So I honestly haven't driven a car in over 5 years, and I may never drive another one again. So that's kind of nice, actually. I don't even know. It would be weird to drive a car right now. So that's downsizing your life, though. You will be able to get rid of way more than you think you will once you commit to this lifestyle. But the second part of downsizing is to downsize your bills.
Yes, and once you start looking at the numbers, like once you start writing down everything that every penny that goes out, and you start looking at it, you're like, why am I paying 3 people to do this one thing, and I actually could do that and it would be no big deal? Or why am I paying for a streaming service? When was the last time I used this particular streaming service? Let's get rid of that. There's so many excess things like that we don't think about. You started that. Sometimes we get a streaming service to watch 1 or 2 different shows that we're interested in, and then sometimes you forget to cancel them. And you're like, wait a minute, we're still paying for that? That adds up. That adds up really quickly. You got to keep a handle on those types of things, and just, that's a great place to go in and it's a good payday when you start knocking those things out and you're like, whoa, that's like $1,000 worth of things. And you think to yourself, that sounds like a lot of thousand. You could do even better than that. You could save way more even than 1,000 depending on what you get rid of.
Yeah. Next thing that you need to do is to get out of debt, first of all. And that should go without saying right up front. Any money you're paying, any interest you're paying to credit card companies is bad. So you just want to get that, because if you're trying to live off of this money, that's just detracting from you every month. So first thing, get out of debt. But we're going to move on to, if you're really starting from zero or close to zero, after you've sold everything that you're going to sell to downsize, you're going to have some money, but still nowhere near the $1 million that you need to do this. It comes down to increasing your income then. And we're going to talk about a few ways to do that. The ways that we did, and it has really worked for us, is you've got the choice, first of all, to get more hours at work. That is not the one we did, though.
No, it isn't. Because we were essentially working for ourselves for the most part, so we couldn't really give ourselves more hours.
A second one you could do is some type of consulting, coaching. If you're in the type of field where consulting is used, you can do that. That is also not what we did, though.
It is also not what we did.
We went the route of starting our own, what people call side hustles, which is your own little businesses that can make money. And we went at this. I remember the day we sat down. We were in actually Colombia a few years ago in 2021, and we decided, you know what, let's start some side hustles and really go for them. And let's see how much we could add per month to our bottom line in passive income. And we added enough to do this pretty much the rest of our lives if we want to. And we did that in 2 years. So we're going to give you 5 years. And on this channel, we're going to tell you exactly how we did that. There are so many different side hustle options people could do, though.
Absolutely. There's a ton of options. You just have to be creative too, because just because something doesn't currently exist or no one's doing that doesn't mean it can't be done. You can't be the first one. Just start looking at what are some things that you can offer. Oftentimes you can use the career that you've spent your life working on as a side hustle, like Rob said, doing consulting and different things like that, or, doing like ebooks, doing courses, lots of different things that you can do with the knowledge that you have. And another one obviously is how you're watching us right now is on YouTube.
Yeah, you can easily do YouTube. We now have 6 YouTube channels, and that's one of the things that we've been doing to make this possible. We've got quite a few other things we're doing as well, so we can't get into the details of every one of those right now, but just know that it is very, very possible, if you're willing to work at it, to start a side hustle income that can get you some or all of this number reduced. And I don't think there's any problem with planning on making that the way you get out, because otherwise you're just going to be working, trading hours for dollars for the rest of your life. And that's not what you want to do.
Exactly. At some point you have to step in and say, okay, I want to get out of the hamster wheel and just do something a little bit different. And I think sometimes that can be a little bit scary for people to do something that looks a little bit different, and that is something that you have to kind of come to terms with as well, right? I mean, we discuss that a lot, and we've done very different things throughout our life together, and you just have to be okay with doing things a little bit differently than the way other people are doing it, and not letting other people come in and discourage you from, they're like, you're going to try to retire in 5 years? That's crazy. You can't do that because of this and this. Well, you can because of this, what we've just shared with you. It very well can be done, and that's, what we've done.
You can, yes. There will be people who come in and are naysayers to what you're trying to do. People are naysayers to what we're trying to do, even without really knowing our situation. But it can be done. It is very workable to do this within a 5-year period. And we're excited to share this journey with you that we've been on, and hopefully that you are going to embark on, because there is no reason to have to live a life that is not fulfilling and not the one you wanted, and not to get to go do the things that you wanted to do while you are still young enough, healthy enough, and capable of doing them. And I think that was the key for us when we realized that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never too late, really. You can just jump in here at any time and just go ahead and go for it. You've got to just, basically have the attitude of believing in yourself and saying, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go in.
I have one more tip that is very important for this, and that is, I think one of the things we've always tried to do is to be fully invested in the stock market with whatever little money we had. And that's going to grow it as quick as possible, because on average the stock market goes up 7% a year. It may be down 10% one year and up 12% the next year. You don't know that, but over time it is going to go up. And if you are trying to say, well, I'll wait, maybe it's going to go down, I don't want to have all my money in there if it goes down, you're going to miss when it goes up if you do that. Without a doubt, you're going to miss it. And that's what happened in 2020 when the stock market basically crashed because of world events. Then a lot of people took their money out, and then it went on a huge run up, and people missed it because they were not fully invested at all times. They're trying to time it. And when you try to time the market like that, you'll almost always get burned because you're being reactionary instead of predictive. So I would say that as you're making this money, if you're starting from zero, maybe you're starting from something, have that money invested, because you want to not miss the big upswings, and you never know when they're going to come. But in general, the upswing will be bigger than the downswing. So that's an important factor of compounding your money and making your money work for you. And you're going to need to be fully invested anyway if you're going to withdraw that 5%, because it needs to be earning that 7% a year in order for you to withdraw the 5.
Exactly. And it'll take away that headache of constantly thinking, oh, should I go ahead and put it in? Should I not? It takes all that out. You're in there all the time. You don't have to concern yourself with it on a daily basis.
Right, which is why we generally don't sell a lot of stocks. We will be giving you stock recommendations that we have bought, but we sell every once in a while, but not very often, because we do try to have all our money in the market whenever we can.
Yeah, and we did actually sell a couple recently. We did a video on that and why we sold those that we did sell. So we really do have tons more like this coming up here on the channel. You guys have been asking us for this information, so we're going to break it down a lot more for you. This is just the beginning of it. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, share the video, and share your questions down below in the comment section. Not only helps us to know what you're interested in and to help you along the path, but also helps others when we answer the questions and can share those on there as well. So hopefully we will catch you guys on the next one.